Hey y'all, it's Caitlin. So I want to do another top 5 video. I was gonna wait till the new year to do it. I might still do another one right at the new year. But I really wanted to go ahead and do one because it's been on my mind for several months now, actually. So I went ahead and finally just made a list of the top 5 Funko Pop continuations I would like to see. Meaning, it's a line that Funko has already made pops of. I just want more of them. Okay? And I really wish they would just continue it and, make as many characters as they can, basically, from it. Now, first off, I would like to do this again, because there were several properties that came to mind that I was like, but I already have 5, so you might actually see this happening again in the next coming months. But there's only 2 rules I set for myself. One, it can't be something that we know is continuing. Like Pokemon. We know that Pokemon Pops are coming, the Eevee Pop is coming out next. So we know that line is continuing. I don't know why I'm playing with the pen. And also anything that is rumored to be continued soon. Now, to my knowledge, nothing on this list is rumored to be continued soon. I know on one of Franklin's Funko Pop news, it was either last month or in October sometime, I think he posted or he talked about that they might be making more Yu-Gi-Oh! Pops, which I am very, very down for that. Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably would have been on this list if it hadn't been for that. So anything that we know is continuing, or anything that is rumored to continue, where we think Rogue and Gambit should be getting a pop soon, so the X-Men is continuing, finally. So again, X-Men isn't on the list. But yeah, so those are the only 2 rules I set for myself. So everything on this list is my opinion, and I would love to see your guys' list in the bottom, your top 5 already made Funko Pop lines that you wish was continued. So number 5 for me is Digimon. Now we have Tai and Agumon, we have Matt and Gabumon, and that's it. So with that, they could do it a couple different ways. They could go ahead and continue the first series, which if we ever did get continuation, it would probably be, I want to say they would probably make Sora and Biyomon, because she was kind of like the third in command, kind of, if you think about it. But more than likely, if they go ahead and make just another 4 set, they would make Kari and Gatomon and TK and Patamon to complete the siblings, pretty much. Which would be really, really cool. I personally would love to see all of the Digidestineds for Season 1 get pops, as well as their partner Digimon. Maybe even make the Digivolve forms into 6 inches. However, if you look at the Yu-Gi-Oh!, we have Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's a standard size pop, which is very disappointing. If they do make Red Eyes, though, I will say I do wish it's the same standard, just so they meet, or they're, matched. But yeah, it was disappointing that they came in standard. So if they make Digimon, I would really like them to see, oh wait, they didn't like the standard size for the Yu-Gi-Oh!, so let's up it to a 6 inch if they decide to do, Greymon or Garurumon. For the in training stage, Agumon and Gabumon, it works. But for the larger ones, it wouldn't. So whether they continue with the Digimon or whether they continue with the Digidestineds and Digimon, I'm fine either way. I just want Digimon pops. Let me know if you guys are like me and you like the first 2 series of Digimon, but then the other ones, not so much. Because those 2 were the best. Really, really the best. And they could do it again, focus on Season 2. They did Tai and Matt, so next time do Davis with Vmon and then Teenage TK with Patamon. Either of those would work. The only bad thing about making Patamon into its own separate pop, it would be like this big. It would be like literally like smaller than a mini, probably a mystery mini, but I still want it and I'd still buy it, even if it would pretty much be a waste of money and I'd look at it later like crap, but I would still buy it. I would still buy it. Number 4, I've talked about this ever since I've got it in my hands, and that is Xena. So Xena Warrior Princess is a show that I absolutely love. I've seen nearly every episode of it. I haven't watched the last 2 because I know I'm gonna cry. But they've only made Xena. Xena came out very, very recently. And I really hope that line continues. if just one other pop alone, we need a Gabrielle to go with her. Gabrielle was in every single episode along with Xena, and they're a power couple. They are nearly always together, and that storyline just focused on the two of them together so much that you really can't have one without the other. So I would love to have a Gabrielle. I'd love to have a Joxer, because he was iconic to that series. Maybe an Eve would be pretty cool to see. Ares and Aphrodite would be neat. Or even if they wanted to just, again, make a Gabrielle. Please, Funko, make a Gabrielle. But if they wanted to just not do as many characters, just make a couple variations of Xena. I'd be okay with that. I love Xena so much, I'd be perfectly okay with buying like her samurai form or her warlord form or, anything. There were so many different forms to Xena. Make one of Meg. Make one of what was the priestess name? Leia, and then there was a Princess Diana, I think. I should know that, Wonder Woman, but yeah, there are plenty variations they can make with Lucy Lawless's likeness. Too many L's. But they could definitely improve on that sculpt and do a few variations, as well as, please, make a Gabrielle. Because it should be a rule. They have to go together. It should be a rule. But anyway, number 3 is Jem and the Holograms. I was super shocked that they made Jem pops. I never thought that would happen, but thankfully it did, and it was a cartoon that aired in the 80s. I was born in 93, I did not watch it in the 80s, but I loved it when I watched the reruns. I fell in love with that show, I absolutely loved it. But the one thing that blew me away with the pops is that they didn't just make Jem. Honestly, if they were going to make Jem, I would have thought they would have done it like Xena. They would just have made Jem. But they made Pizzazz to go with her, which is sort of like her frenemy, I guess you could say. Arch enemy, frenemy, one or the other. 2 rival bands, and they were the leader of each band. Jem was leader of Jem and the Holograms. Pizzazz was the leader of the Misfits. But there are still plenty characters that they could do. Again, just finish off the bands, both of them. If they want to just make it for season 1, other characters were added later, but they can make Shayna, Aja, Kimber to complete the Holograms, and then Stormer and Roxy to complete the Misfits. The doll line for Jem back in the 80s really, really bombed because they were going head to head with Barbie. Yeah, so they kind of failed then. But as pops, they could actually succeed. I don't see these guys on the shelf anywhere. I didn't see them anywhere to begin with. But my point is, they're not that easy to find on shelf anymore. I don't know whether it's because, they didn't sell very well, or if they just sell too well. I honestly don't know. If I had to guess, it'd probably be the former, unfortunately. But I personally would love to see more. And again, thank you to Brian from Nerd Crew for finding these 2 for me. I did find them eventually later on, after I made that video, but I bought 2 off Macari and they came in totally trashed. But Brian found me 2 good ones, thankfully, and shipped it properly. But I would love to see that. And again, back with what I said with Xena, if they wanted to, they could just make more variations of Jem. They could make Jerica, which is her Bruce Wayne to, Jem's Batman. They could do the glitter and gold Jem. They could do the I think there was like a Christmas special with Jem. Jem had a few different outfits. Safari, I know, outfit. So they could do several. And even if we did get the band members and they expand it out, I don't want a Rio. If they make a Rio, I'm not gonna buy it. But the secondary characters that were just in, a few episodes here and there, their looks were very, very distinct. Like, they didn't just say, okay, this is a character we're going to use every once in a while, we're just going to make her look very, very generic. Each of them were very, very 80s. They were very outlandish designs, video, crash, dance. Each of them had a very vibrant color palette, a very vibrant design. Like, they wouldn't look like people pops, is what I'm saying. They would look really, really good. in pop form, very, very distinctful. And they could also continue with the comic book version of Jem and the Holograms, which would be really, really awesome. Completely different looks. Still similar to the old ones, but completely different at the same time. So, yeah, either way, I just want more Jem and the Hologram pops. Number 2, and I think most people would agree with me on this one, Power Rangers. I don't believe we've gotten any more Power Ranger pops since Hasbro has taken over. I could be wrong, but I want to say, I'm going over all the Hasbro properties in my head. I want to say that Jem was actually the last Hasbro property we got for pops. I'm not entirely sure, because Ninja Turtles don't get made anymore. Transformers don't get made. My Little Pony doesn't get made anymore. So there's very few Hasbro products that get made into pops, unfortunately, anymore. There was a lot at the beginning of Funko, not so much anymore. So who knows if it's going to be a thing or not. I really hope so. Even if they go ahead and just continue with Mighty Morphin as Power Rangers pops, they could do the Alien Rangers, which would be really cool. They could make the Adam, Aisha, and Rocky without their helmets. Would be really neat. They can make movie versions of the characters, put a little bit more detail into the suits. I know we have the 2017 movie, I'm talking about the original Power Rangers movie. They could have an Ivan Ooze, which is awesome. I still want the Ivan Ooze action figure. I don't even have the action figure. They could do Zordon, which, granted, the design for Zordon would be very, very boring, I want to say, because it would just be a pop on a pole, or a head on a pole in a cylinder, but it would still sell. It would still really, really sell. They could make the Thunder Zord pop 6-inch instead of just making the Megazord over and over again. So it would be really, really cool to see more Zords, more Rangers, and also I would love to see it expanded outside of just Mighty Morphin. I personally am a fan of nearly the entire Power Ranger series. There's still a few I haven't seen here and there. I haven't seen Samurai, Megaforce, or the new Beast Morpher. So those are the only 3 I haven't seen. All the others I've seen pretty much from beginning to end, mostly. And I've seen the beginning, the only one I haven't seen any episodes of is Beast Morpher. I've seen a few of Samurai and Megaforce, so this was enough to keep me interested. But I would love to see it continuing, just for them to experiment a little bit and put the Zeo pops out there. I think Zeo would sell, but I don't know. Hopefully we can still get more pops. I know beginning of the year at Toy Fair, Hasbro said that they were, kind of experimenting, testing the waters pretty much with other companies. Seeing what they can do pretty much before they venture out into what they had. They're not taking anything off the table, but they're just not ready to full-on commit to another company quite yet with this brand new licensing, and that's understandable. But at the same time, I want more. I really, really want some more. But anyway, so Power Rangers, I think we can all agree about that one. Number 1 for me. Okay, so, I want this to happen more than I can even say. I want it so bad. They gave us 1 pop out of this line. 1 pop. And that was it. And that was a few years ago. Justice League Unlimited. They gave us Martian Manhunter, which was awesome. Because Martian Manhunter, his original pop is very, very expensive and it's hard to find. So it was good that we got a secondary one. And that's probably why they did it. Just to make Martian Manhunter, who is a pretty recognizable, pretty important character in DC. If you're a DC fan, you know exactly who Martian Manhunter is. He was brand new to Supergirl at that time, I believe. So he was getting a little bit of popularity through the show, as well as the comics. But he's still the only Justice League Unlimited character that we have. There's a lot more they could make in that style. One of which, and you guys all know where this is going, Hawkgirl. Hawkgirl was in Justice League Unlimited She was in Justice League, the animated series before that. I want as many Hot Girl Pops as there are. This one that we have, this is the one I'm metallicized, so it doesn't come metallic. But this style of Hot Girl, I absolutely love, and it's close to the JLU version, but it's not quite it. Her earrings was smaller, her mask was a little bit different design with the stripes going down the middle. She didn't have straps to her dress, it was strapless, or her top, it was strapless. Other than that, it's pretty more or less spot on, but there's still a few differences. And yes, if they made just those few differences, I would still buy it, because that's how much of a crazy person I am. But if it was just Justice League Unlimited, she didn't have her mask, she had a different costume, please make Shira Hall from Justice League Unlimited. Please. They could also make a second Jon Stewart, because he looked different in that one after his breakup with Hot Girl. He changed a little bit. The Wonder Woman, if they sculpted it right, it would be very, very recognizable, because her look in Justice League Unlimited and Justice League Animated was very different from the other cartoons that we've seen or other animations that we've seen her in, as well as different from her comic style. Still similar, extremely similar, but if they sculpted it just right, it would look perfect. Perfect. Same with Superman. Probably the same with Batman. I don't know. Batman's been done so many times over that it would probably look similar to another Batman somewhere. But they could do Black Canary based on that one. I know we got the comic style Black Canary, but they could still do that one. They could do a Rides with the Javelin. Javelin 7, I was about to say Javelin 7. That was in Justice League Unlimited. But they can still use one of the Javelins from Justice League Unlimited. Oh my gosh, they could do an invisible jet of Wonder Woman, maybe a smaller one this time that can actually fit on a shelf decently. I just really want that to continue, because that show is what put all this into motion. Me falling in love with DC Comics through Justice League Animated and Justice League Unlimited was what started me on my love for comics. Comics started me on my love for action figures. Action figures led me to Funko Pops. And everything else in between. The statues, everything I collect, and so much part of my life started with Justice League Unlimited. So it would be very, very nostalgic for me. And it would just be awesome. They could do some of the villains from the series. They could do Shade. I would love to see. Again, I don't know if he was really part of Unlimited so much as he was animated series, but I feel like those two would go hand in hand anyway. And they've made 2 waves so far of Batman the animated series. I don't think it would be too much of a stretch for them to get more licensing to do Justice League Unlimited. The Aquaman one would look super different from any other Aquaman we've gotten. If you guys seen that version of Aquaman, you'll know how different it is, and it's awesome. And, man, it would just be really, really neat. A Doomsday pop based on that series, or even the actual comic version of Doomsday would be cool. Felix Faust, Hades, Hippolyta, there are just so many characters from Justice League Unlimited that they could do, and I would buy all of them. No joke. But the one, of course, I want the most is still Shira Hall without her mask, or in her different costume. I can't tell you guys how much I want that to continue. When I saw Martian Manhunter, that it was coming out, I flipped out, because I'm like, okay, it's gonna happen. There's gonna be more pops, but it hasn't happened yet, unfortunately. So I desperately want that to happen. So anyway, guys, that is my top 5 for now. Pop lines that I want them to be continued later on, hopefully soon, maybe next year, hopefully. So let me guys know your list down below and why. I promise I read all the comments. I don't answer back all the comments, because I'm not smart enough to think of a comeback or a reply, but yeah, I do read them all, and I'm very curious to see what you guys would put as your top 5. But anyway, guys, that is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoy me rambling about my fandoms. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, like always, it's community, not competition. I'll see y'all later. Bye.